hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Joe.
Hey, happy Thursday, everyone. Jo Madden here. It's time for Pocket with Joe over here on YouTube. Yes, I see all the confusion in the chat. I did schedule it for what? Like 5 times. I had to reschedule the show. It has been absolutely insane here for me today with so much going on. These bowl games, championship games this weekend with the NFL. So I apologize. I had to get some other stuff done before this. So we're going to go over the games. I don't have every single game for you for a pick, you guys, but I will give you my best leans in all of them. 10 games out there on the ice, and we're going to jump right into it here now. So the first game, the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, just double checking the goaltending status because I didn't have time before. It is Wall versus Anderson. I have concerns about Frederik Anderson between the pipes here for the Carolina Hurricanes. He's struggled versus the Leafs, and he struggled on the season. He's got an .885 save percentage versus the Leafs in his career and an .878 versus or overall in the season. I think Toronto's going to be able to score. Now, Toronto's power play hasn't been converting at the level we wanted this season, but it's still absolutely deadly with the playmakers on the ice for that power play. I think they have the ability to convert, even though we're looking at a Carolina Hurricanes team that's really getting back into their defensive structure. They only allow 24.5 shots on goal. The kill's still not great, 79.7%. Now, Toronto thrives in a game that's, open offensively. They should be able to come into this one and get those goals. Looking at Joseph Wall, he's got a .922 save percentage versus the Canes. He's got a .919 save percentage on the season. I've got Toronto's team total over 2.5 at minus 111. Now, if you want to be brave in this one, look at Toronto for the straight up win. Looking at Toronto for the straight up win, currently I am seeing coming in at plus 164. You've lost some value as the day has gone on. It was a plus 170 earlier, but I still think Toronto has every opportunity of pulling off the win. If they're going to be able to do so, it's because Austin Matthews nets a goal and then John Tavares. I got John Tavares for the goal. He scored a goal in each of the Leafs' last 3 versus Carolina Hurricanes, and I think he's going to be able to step up big in this one today. The next game on deck is the St. Louis Blues versus the Boston Bruins. St. Louis rolling in here at minus 150. The Bruins, a home dog at plus 125. Total sitting at 5.5, you guys. 5.5 juice to the under at minus 115. You got Binghamton versus, and let me just double check that. I don't want to give you misinformation on these goaltenders. It is Binghamton confirmed versus Corpusalo. Binghamton rolling in here with a 3.20 goals against average at .878 save percentage. Corpusalo an .883 save percentage at 2.54 goals against average. Why I can't take this one to the over is the St. Louis Blues aren't generating a ton of goals. They're only averaging that 2.56. The Bruins surprisingly strong out there at getting those goals, averaging over 3. Now the Bruins have 30 points on the season. They're just sitting out of a playoff spot. So they have gone 11-6 in their last 17 games. They're looking for that playoff spot, 1 point outside of it right now. So a win here would be huge. The St. Louis Blues did beat them back on the 16th, 3-2. Now, they will face each other again on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, you will see them return to St. Louis to face each other. The St. Louis Blues have allowed 3.44 goals per game, while the Boston Bruins have allowed that 3.25. Now, the Blues are coming off the loss to the Ducks on Monday, 4-1. This is their first game on the road at 3. They got the Ottawa Senators on the Senators and then Montreal and then back versus the Bruins on Tuesday. So I do think St. Louis can win here in another 3-2 style game, but the Bruins win that next game. So definitely a look ahead situation for Boston. Boston has scored 8 goals in 3 games without Pasta on the ice. So this team is struggling to get those goals. The only way I could look at this one is to the under, you guys. And like I said, that under a 5.5, it's kind of scary with what we've seen out of these defenses, but the offenses just aren't getting anywhere. So the under 5.5 coming in at -115, I think is your best bet in this one. Let's make some freaking money is right for sure. Yeah, there's way too much snow in Calgary. At least it didn't snow today. It snowed all night last night. Okay. Next game on deck. And I'm glad you guys were waiting for me in the chat. Again, apologies for making you wait. If there's anyone who was looking at for Boston to step up with passed out, it's got to be Morgan Geeky. His point, those two juiced. It's coming in at -165. Now, Braden Shen has been strong for the Blues versus the Boston Bruins. He has been able to net a goal in the last two versus the Bruins. So definitely your playmaker there for the St. Louis Blues. As for the Colorado Avalanche, large favorite rolling in to take on the New York Islanders today. They're coming in at -182. We could take it down to reg. You take that down to reg, it's coming in at -125. I don't see the Isles pushing this game to an OT game. I think the Avs do handle it in reg. If you do think that they cover that puck line, laying 1.5 plus 136. The great thing about the Avs is their best offensive and defensive team in the league. The Isles really have been playing stronger defensively, but can Sorokin hold off the Colorado Avalanche with their playmakers, with Nathan McKinnon, with Martin Necas? I just don't know if he can. So I have a little bit of concerns there with that. You got Mackenzie Blackwood, definitely the stronger of the two goaltenders. He's got a 1.85 goals against average and a .930 save percentage for Colorado. Sorokin on the other side, 918 save percentage versus Colorado. So solid numbers, a 905 save percentage on the season. We got one of the worst power plays here for the Isles. You have the best goals on average for Colorado at 4.08. Best for shots on goal at 33.8. Their power play, though, not converting at a high level at 16.1. They're allowing the least goals at 2.04. 26.2 shots on goal, and their kills so strong. Second best kill at 82%. They did win November 16th, 4-1, and I really do think it should be a very similar game. Now, for the Islanders to pull off the upset, they would really need to stop those high danger looks and be able to have like a spot on game here for Sorokin. I think this is a 3-1 style game. For the Colorado Avalanche, I would look at Colorado either in reg at -125 or to take Colorado on that puck line. I don't want to take that total, though, because if Colorado just starts peppering Sorokin out there, we could see the total fall apart just from the Avs themselves. Now, Anders Lee is, though, the playmaker you want to look at for the Isles. He scored at least 1 goal in the Islanders' last 5 at home versus Colorado. So Anders Lee steps up. Nathan McKinnon for the Colorado Avalanche, 2+ points. He has got 26 games under his belt, 46 points. So 2+ points for him. You got Martin Necas for a point as well, 33 on the season. He's so phenomenally strong. The New York Rangers and the Ottawa Senators, you guys. You do have the Rangers rolling in as a dog, and this is a tempting price. They're +110, -132 here for the Ottawa Senators, total of 5.5. I gotta go. I gotta go with the New York Rangers. Igor Shesterkin in between the pipes here. This is the first game home for the Ottawa Senators off a long road trip. They were out there on the road for 7 games. That last game, they did get that big win over the Montreal Canadiens on Tuesday. It was 5-2 win. Brady Tkachuk light in the frickin' lap. Brady Tkachuk, definitely we're going to take for a point here. Now it's juicy by itself. We're going to parlay it. You can take him for the anytime goal too. On Igor, I don't hate it, but I think there's a way to look at the points. So, and the only way for the side for me is the Rangers, because I'm getting plus money on a Rangers team that has been better out there on the road. This is a one-off road game, so I really don't love the scheduling spot for them as well, especially with the look ahead. They have the Avs in Vegas on deck, so hard look ahead, but you got to always fade a team coming home. Give me Brady, though, and Mika Zibanejad. Mika Zibanejad was originally drafted by the Ottawa Senators in 2011. He played, I believe it was 5 seasons with the Senators. So this is like he's coming back home to the team that drafted him. I'm playing against them. Players get up for this. So Mika and Brady for the anytime points. Yeah, players on different teams. It's coming in at +168. So I do like it here. That's my favorite bet in this one. I don't think you take a side. You just take Mika and Brady for the point. Braden Shen has scored a goal in each of the Blues' last 2 against the Bruins. Yeah, he absolutely has. So I would look at him there for the St. Louis Blues. Thank you. I'm alive. I am here. I appreciate you guys. You're looking at Nelson Ross, Gabriel Landeskog, plus 225 for the 2 points. Okay, I like it. It's a great way to go. I do think there's a lot of opportunities. One thing that concerns me, remember about the Rangers, Adam Fox on the IR. You've also got Rempe on the IR as well. A couple of players, they're just dealing with those injuries. When we look at the Pittsburgh Penguins, they are taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I know Tampa is tempting right now. Tampa is just being dominating out there. Johansson in between the pipes tonight versus Tristan Jarry for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I like the Penguins with this plus money. You're looking at a Penguins team that's able to pull off some crazy upsets. They're only coming in at plus 128, which I know is not that much value here. They're sitting for fifth in the Metro versus the first in the Atlantic. But I think that they roll in nicely to this game. They're coming in off that win in their last game out, 5-1 versus the Flyers. Now, that was Monday night. Looking at them, this is the first game or second game of a road trip. They have the Stars on deck on Sunday, and then they're back home versus the Ducks. The Tampa Bay Lightning have been just lighting things up in the Atlantic. They're coming off that game versus the Isles, in which they did lose. They lost that game to the Isles 2-1. Now, this is their first game home off of 3. They will face the Isles again on Saturday. I just think this is a game here. You look at Pittsburgh, you look at Sidney Crosby, and you just take the Penguins to roll in and get the win. Another thing to look at in this one, I think both teams get off to a hot start. Both teams to score in the first period, I definitely think is a solid way to go. Now, we move on to the next game on deck. We do have, where are we on deck here? We've got the Nashville Predators versus the Florida Panthers. Right away, I'm taking Forsling of the Florida Panthers. He's a defenseman, you guys. Defenseman here on the second pair, or on the first defensive pairing on the second power play. Forsling for a goal tonight. I know it's a long shot. It's plus 1,200. You can just take him for a point if you don't want to take him for a goal, but he's been able to score in the last 2 versus the Predators. So I love looking at those trends, players who really play strong for different teams. Now, it's unfortunate to see the Florida Panthers sitting 8th in the Atlantic. Definitely a bye team right now. I do think once their playmakers get back, like Matthew Tkachuk, we could see them moving right up in the division. So it's Bobrovsky versus Saros. Saros in here for the Predators. I just don't trust this Predators team. This Predators team is only 3-5-2 out there on the road. You're looking at a Florida team. They've been shaky, 8-6-1, but they definitely have the deeper roster out here. You're looking at power play conversion. It's just slightly stronger here for the Florida Panthers, while the kill is actually stronger for the Preds. We're going to look for this defense to start turning around. For the Florida Panthers, they are only allowing 26.4 shots on goal per game, 3.2 goals, though. You are seeing the Preds giving up that 3.58. So I think this is a nice game for you to look at the Florida Panthers, their ability to come out nice and strong off of those 3 losses. They lost that last game to the Leafs, which they shouldn't have. It was a 4-1 loss. They lost the game prior to the Flames, 5-3, and the game prior to that, 4-2 for the against the Flyers. Now, they're at home for their next game versus the Columbus Blue Jackets, then versus the Isles. They got to get things back on track here, and I expect it to come tonight versus a team that I just cannot trust in the Nashville Predators. So give me the Florida Panthers team total. I'd look at it over the 3.5. You're going to get good value on their team total over 3.5. If you're getting a 2.5, I don't blame you. I would hit that as well. Benjamin, good to see you here today. Panarin, Thierry Panarin has scored at least 1 goal in each of the Rangers' last 6 against the Sabres. Yeah, great way to go with that as well. Okay, we're moving in. If you're wondering why I'm holding my phone, I'm checking these goaltending matchups because I was not able to make sure I had the goaltending matchups right in my head before we came on here. And you guys, I don't know if I have time for the recap. I got to fly. I'm on Wager Talk at the top of the hour here doing Thursday Night Football. So make sure you do join me live on Wager Talk at the top of the hour. I've just been going nonstop today. So Detroit versus Columbus. Detroit will have Cam Talbot, expected at least, Elvis between the pipes for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So this one we're looking at Detroit coming in as a slight dog, which is really interesting that Detroit's a slight dog in this one at plus 102. It's minus 122 here for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, these teams did just match up on the 22nd of November. We saw Detroit get a 4-3 win. It was a thrilling game between them. Both teams are coming in off wins. So looking at the Columbus Blue Jackets coming into this game, They were out on the road. They got the 5-3 win versus the New Jersey Devils. Now they are at the Panthers starting on Saturday. So they've got a 1-2-3 game road trip on deck. I never love a team that's coming off a one road game like they were versus the Devils, home for one and then back out for 3 or 4. It just doesn't make sense for me to bet a team in this situation. Now, I agree. I saw in the chat you guys saying Shane Monahan should be able to net one here. And I do think he finds the back of the net, but I wouldn't bet on Columbus. Could they win? Yeah, they absolutely could. This is also a situation where we saw the Red Wings at Boston, home versus Boston, now back out on the road. I think even though their schedules kind of mirror each other but opposite, that it's easier for a team that was on the road, went home, and now back on the road, more focused versus a team that went out on the road, had to come home to family obligations as well, and then they are headed back out on the road. I just don't like betting them in those situations. We're looking at a long road trip for the Red Wings, though. They have, 6 games on deck out there on the road. They got the Kraken on Saturday. They need to get this win today at plus 102. I do think the Red Wings are definitely worth a shot here on the money line. Now, they have won their last 5 first periods versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. So first period here for the Red Wings, I think, is a great way to go. Now, Alex DeBrincat has scored at least 1 goal in each of the Red Wings' last 4 versus the Blue Jackets. Look at DeBrincat here for the goal. Look at the Red Wings first period as well. We're moving on to the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Edmonton Oilers. Now, looking at this matchup, we keep hearing about everything that's happening with Edmonton with goaltending. Yeah, they're a $2 favorite. Why? Why is Edmonton $2 favorite? 6 in the Pacific versus the Kraken, who are sitting 5th. Well, Edmonton is the better team, you guys, so don't let that record fool you. Calvin Pickard is confirmed for Edmonton. He's got a 4.04 goals against average and an 847 save percentage, but his number is right around Skinner's. So Joey Decord coming in here for the Seattle Kraken. Now the Kraken, they've been decent on the road, going 5-4-3. We've got an Edmonton team 5-3-2 at home. Edmonton, I don't know. They're going to get things right. The Seattle Kraken have lost their last 3, though. We did see Edmonton just get the shutout win on November 29th versus Seattle, and that was a 4-0 win. You did have Stuart Skinner between the pipes in that game. Now, the Kraken, they haven't played since that game out there on Saturday. So their one-off road game here, they're back home on Saturday versus the Red Wings and the Wild on Monday. This is a terrible scheduling spot, I think, for the Seattle Kraken, even though they're going to look for revenge off of that game. I don't think they get it in this one. I do think I'd look at Seattle's team total under the 2.5. And I know that says a lot, but I'm expecting a strong night out of Edmonton on the defensive side of things as well, and them to really lock down. They're coming off the game on Tuesday versus the Minnesota Wild. They lost that 1-0. Their defense really played stellar in that game. So look for this one, the Seattle Kraken's team total under 2.5. We then move into the Minnesota Wild taking on the Calgary Flames. Dustin Wolf between the pipes here for Calgary. Gustafson in for the Minnesota Wild. Looking at this one, Calgary, a slight home dog. Now, the Wild's inconsistencies on the offense come on their scoring on 5-on-5. Power play conversion has been nice and solid for this team. We have Gustafson between the pipes. He's got a 2.74 goals against average. And then Dustin Wolf has a 3.16. He's not having the year that he had last season, but that's okay. It's a rebuild for Calgary. Minnesota won the last matchup on the 9th. It was a 2-0 win out there for them. Looking at this one, I think Minnesota is able to roll in and get the win. I don't love this game, though. I do think you look at the first period, under 1.5 goals. I think both of these teams struggle to get the goals on the board to start this game, and then maybe things open up a little bit. But definitely the under 1.5 is where I would go in this game in the first period. And then we got to take a dog, you guys. Who doesn't love the Chicago Blackhawks right now and everything that they've got going on? Spencer Knight between the pipes, at least expected, versus Darcy Kemper. Chicago has been great. They're sitting 5th in the Central, 3rd in the Pacific for the LA Kings. And I do like the LA Kings, don't get me wrong. But how can we deny Connor Bedard, Frank Nazar, and everything that this Chicago team is doing? They're averaging the 9th most goals in the league at 3.19. They have averaged 25.4 shots on goal. Their power play converting at 22.8%. Now, on the other side for the Kings, they will play up or down to the speed and the pace that their opponent is playing at. Chicago's going to push them in the pace in this game. This is a team that averages 28.6 shots on goal. Their defense is only allowing 2.62 and 26 shots. So we're going to see in this one, Chicago really try to get more shots. We're going to see a lot of block shots. Both of these teams coming off of losses. They already did match up once this season. We saw the LA Kings win it 3-1. Now, when we look at Chicago, they're coming off a really disappointing loss. You guys know it. We had them versus Vegas in that last game. Vegas won in a shootout 4-3. Did you see that freaking goal of Connor Bedard's? If you didn't, go Google the goal of Connor Bedard's versus Las Vegas Golden Knights. It was a thing of beauty. So this is their second game on the road, right? So they face the Kings on Tuesday. They face the Knights on Tuesday. Now the Kings here on Thursday. And then guess what? On Saturday, they face the Kings here again. I think they win this one. The Kings answer back on Saturday. Then they're at the Ducks on Sunday. So they have the first and second night of back-to-back, but versus the same team that they're playing tonight. So it's an interesting scheduling spot, but I think Chicago can get it done. When you look at the playmakers, you've got Connor Bedard rolling in here with 17 goals, 21 assists, 38 freaking points. Connor Bedard tonight, give me him for 2+ points. Bertuzzi rolling in with 14 points, 9 assists. And then Frank Nazar. I love what we've seen out of him and Teravainen. So not the goals. We've seen Nazar with 5 goals, but 13 assists. Teravainen with 6 goals, 11 assists. I think those are your playmakers. Now, I do believe if Chicago's to win this, you're going to see both of these teams getting those goals. First period, both teams to score, absolutely, plus money on that. I think Spencer Knight and we see Dusty Kemper allow those goals in the first period. I take the over 5.5. I think this is a back and forth battle in this one. So you guys, that is what I'm liking. I'm sorry. I absolutely sped through this so very fast. I appreciate you. And I'm sorry that we're running late. I just had so many obligations today. I literally ran downstairs, got a rice cake, put peanut butter on it, my first meal of the day, and had chugged half of my coffee and came running back upstairs. So I appreciate you guys. We will be live again tomorrow. Stay tuned for the time. I got a whole bunch of stuff I got to get done before we do Puck Up, but I'll try to get it done earlier. Tomorrow's slate is a lot smaller. And that was the problem. I was just trying to get more and more information for you guys. And that's where I'm always running to get you guys more information. I don't want to come at you and just say, okay, take Colorado in red. Because that was the easiest bet when I looked at the card. I want to make sure I'm getting that research, doing those player props for you guys as well. So I'll see you back here tomorrow. I'll do a fast, quick, no, I'm not going to do a recap. I got to be on last call in 29 minutes. So join me on last call, you guys. We're going to talk this Thursday night football game. Spoiler alert, it's all about the Lions for me. It's the Lions each and every single day, you guys. I appreciate you so much for being here. Let's make some freaking money out there tonight on the ice. Until tomorrow, stay hot. And yeah, we need a bounce. I need a bounce back from yesterday. I don't know how your bets went yesterday. The hardwood and the ice were freaking cold as anything. You guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Let's make some money.